How to Be Tom Shalhoub, a podcast starring me, Tom Shalhoub. Each week, I explore a topic or speak with someone I find interesting, someone I think you could learn from. By listening, you might gain some insight into what it's like to be Tom Shalhoub. Now, why would anybody want to do that? Well, look, you have to model yourself after someone, right? Might as well be me. I mean, who are you going to be, Albert Einstein? Much easier to start with someone simple, like me, Tom Shalhoub.
To do it. Handy.
Yeah. Okay, so broadcast legend Anthony Cumia. There's going to be a lot of people who might not know you because, you know, the Tom Shalhoub crowd is going to be like kind of the Branson, Missouri crowd here, you know?
Sure.
So they're going to be like, who is this guy? But I'll just, treat you anyway, like everyone knows. We don't have to go remedial and go over all the details. But,
right.
But they most people know you from the Opie and Anthony days, and now you've got your own compound media. And where are you? I don't even know where you are.
Yes. I'm deep below the Earth's crust, which is where I like to reside. No, I'm in South Carolina now.
Okay, that's great. And are you kind of seaside or something? Where are you?
No. My sister moved to Myrtle, so she's seaside, but I took a little more inland. That way I could have more property and do more of the things I wanted to do, like shoot guns.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, so do you shoot birds or anything, or what do you shoot?
No, I don't like. I honestly don't like killing living things.
Uh-huh.
I'm a target guy. I like setting things up and shooting. I like going to the range and just shooting targets, getting proficient in aiming and whatnot. And that's fun. If I had to, I'll hunt anything. I don't. Obviously, not a good thing to say these days with puppies being endangered. Being shot by politicians. but if I had to eat, well, that's another story. But, as long as I could go to the store and get a steak, I'd feel I don't need to pop something in the head that's adorable.
Yeah. See, I mean, you would do it, but you are kind of opposed to it because you don't want to kill something that's alive. It would make you feel bad.
Yeah. I'm opposed to it just for sport. I'm not like a sport hunter, but if you're like Ted Nugent, I think kills more animals than rabies has, but he seems to use it. He seems to like feed homeless people in schools and himself, and he's got a big ranch wherever the hell he is. So I get that part of it, but sport hunter, it just shows me you like killing something that, is beneath you mentally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like obviously the big game, the elephants and lions and all that nonsense. But to tell you the truth, because I'm always talking a good game with the pro hunting, and I don't even have a gun. I've shot shotguns. I've shot the clay pigeons, and I took my dog for training. So my dog, I went hunting with the dog, but I had the hunter do the shooting of the birds because I'm not good enough to pick a bird out of the sky yet.
Yeah.
Because when I do the clay pigeons, I only hit like 1 out of every 3. You should be hitting all the pigeons before you.
Not necessarily, Tom.
Really?
Yeah, like especially trap or skeet shooting. Think of it like golf with a loud club. It's a loud golf club. When you go golfing, you have fun, but how many times do you actually even par a hole? It's constantly in the woods and everything. Shooting's kind of like that. You're just supposed to leave at the end of the day, enjoying having hung out with your friends and being completely pissed at yourself for being unbelievably inept at the task.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I have this great dog, this wonderful golden retriever that is a great fetcher and definitely is bred, it's in her bones to go after the birds. She kind of points at them. She chases them. She chases squirrels up a tree so I can shoot them. And, so I want to take her hunting. And but I thought I should get to be a better shot before I go out and do that. But I guess you're giving me permission maybe to be a lousy hunter at first. And maybe I should, embrace that.
Yeah, it's, obviously the safety part is paramount.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part of hunting or anything with a gun. After that, you want to become more proficient, but it's like anything else. It takes time. You're going to make some mistakes, but as long as they're not like Dick Cheney mistakes, where your friend leaves with those. They're all the rage now, though. Their girls are tattooing freckles on their face. Just go to Dick Cheney and have him blast you with a shotgun.
And it's true, because the hunter that trained my dog, he said that people shoot their dogs all the time because the birds, they flush they flush the bird and it flies up, and the dog keeps chasing the bird. He's going to chase it up into the sky. But if the bird dips down, sometimes they shoot, and it's a shotgun and some stray.
No, I am for how, for my reputation, let's say, Tom, I am an animal lover. I just love animals. I have such a hard time watching videos or anything of an animal in distress, even not even really getting hurt. But I don't even like when their owners confuse them for YouTube. You see when they do like that trick where they disappear behind the blanket.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
The poor dog's left there like, I don't know. Am I eating ever again? Am I ever going to get water? My owner disappeared. I feel bad for them. Never mind hurting them. I could watch a ton of videos every day of the most horrific things happening to people. And I just, scroll right through them. But an animal, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Even watching them when they like set up the cup, like the solo cups, and make them run or jump over them,
Oh, yes.
And then they wait, and then they're like, oh, let's laugh at the dog. And the kitty cat goes right through the solo cups, and then the dog.
Right.
And you're like, oh, you stupid dog.
Wow. You prove that cats are a little more graceful than dogs. Wow. Oh, are you putting out a paper on this so that the whole scientific community can get a hold of this and run with it? Yeah, we know.
Incredible. But you are a cat person. Do you think cat people are generally more I'm just thinking of the people that I know that are cat people, and it's not who you would expect. That's why I think a lot of people they're like, Anthony's a cat person. Like they think you might be like a pit bull type of guy or something, but you're a cat person.
Right. I think the cat person moniker has gotten it's not just one thing. There are a few people. Like I am not the sit with a lap cat and brush this long Persian cat hair thing. I have a Bengal cat, and they look like leopards, and they kind of act more like a jungle cat than a house cat. They're friendly, but on their own terms.
Yeah.
They're loud, they chirp at the birds outside, and they're very playful. So you could kind of get toys and throw them, and they'll fetch them and come back. So like, it's like dog light. It's like having a dog light. I don't like the responsibility of a dog, because with traveling, you got to bug a family member or something else, or God forbid, send them to a kennel. But a cat, you could literally a week, especially with all the new devices that they have now that are hooked up with your phone. You can feed them, give them water, even look at them, make sure they're all right.
You can feed the cat.
Leave a cat for
what does
a
it
long
do?
time.
Does it uncover the food or something?
No, it's like a little dispenser thing. It's on a timer, and you hear it. It almost looks like a gumball machine, but a bunch of cat food drops out. Yeah, amazing technology. So you could neglect your animals a little more.
But you didn't think about getting a dog when you got to, I'm assuming it's kind of like farmland down there. Like can you shoot on your property?
Yeah. I got land out there and woods, and a lot of woods. It's not like open flat. I got the house and then flat around it. And then the rest of my property, I own woods, which is kind of funny for me. I've never owned woods before. But yeah, I go out in there and shoot guns and look around and go, my woods. And my woods go to a river. So I also have a river. Obviously, the water flows through it. So I only own the water for a very short period of time. Yeah. And then it goes, a new water that someone else owned upstream comes down. And for that moment, I own that water.
That's incredible. I mean, It is amazing. I mean, it must be a whole other world. I mean, with Compound on Long Island, you had a big place, but you didn't have woods.
No, and I had a lot of nosy neighbors, as they call them in the suburbs of the great city of New York. Nosy neighbors, and I don't have those, which I like. I'm thinking of getting a dog. Like me and my girlfriend want a dog. We're having a little bit of a dispute over what breed.
Yeah.
Like I want, and of course I want a German Shepherd. I just like German Shepherds. They look like fun dogs. They also look like they could take care of business if need be.
Yep.
And she's more a Doberman Pinscher, who are guard dogs and stuff, but they don't just seem as kind of
are guard dogs too, though.
Oh yeah, they're crazy good guard dogs, but they also seem like a little more dumb, like lab-ish. Like labs are just dopey, fun dogs. And they couldn't protect you if your life depended on it.
Yeah.
But retrievers, are usually, like you said, they're really nice.
They're unbelievable.
Labs are great. They're fun dogs, but a German Shepherd is a very good protective dog, but they also have kind of that goofy, dog thing that you kind of want too. Dobies just seem like they're on the clock all the time.
Yeah.
Like they never punch out.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie? I bet you this is a movie that you would know. It's Brolin. It's James Brolin. And it's called Trapped. And he's in a department store overnight and they have Dobermans in the store. Do you remember that?
How have I not seen this 1,000 times?
It's unbelievable because I saw it as a kid. So of course it was one of those things, when you like, I woke up, in the middle of the night and I came downstairs and my parents were watching a movie and they let me sit with them. And this
awesome.
guy was trapped in a store, which is kind of every kid's dream, but there's Doberman guard dogs in the store and they are hunting him and he has to like kind of MacGyver his way.
Yeah. Let me guess. His whole mission pretty much is to get to the sporting goods section where he could get some weapons.
It's amazing. So, that's a good one. That's a good YouTube one.
Yeah. He was always good for some of those good old TV movies and stuff.
Yeah.
James Brolin.
What are you watching now? I want to do you watch shows?
It's so strange because I've entered that realm, that period of time in my life where I don't seem to watch anything that was made in this century.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of stuff from the old 1900s. Sitcoms, of course, the standards, Seinfeld and
oh, you do? You like sitcoms?
Yeah, I like sitcoms, old sitcoms especially, and then the typical ones that were just masterful back then. All in the Family. The first 2 and maybe 3 seasons of All in the Family were just amazing. After that, they kind of get a little, I don't know. So many shows got bad after a few seasons and have this legacy of being amazing the whole run. And All in the Family is one of those. They're good for 3 seasons. Then they started softening Archie a bit. Yep. And Edith became a real caricature of who she was, just running around like an idiot. And it just took away from it. The first 3 seasons were great. MASH is another good example of that. MASH, which we all know lasted longer than the Korean War actually did. And the first few seasons of that were very good. They mixed the seriousness with the satire. And then they just got maudlin and like preachy. Yeah. And Alan Alda started writing and directing episodes. And it just became like, this isn't good anymore. So some of them are great, but this legacy that they have of being this great show for the whole length just isn't true.
You know what? I kind of blame it on BJ. He was kind of self-righteous, wasn't he? BJ Honeycutt.
Yes. Trapper was a great partner for BJ for Honeycutt. What am I saying? For Hawkeye. Yeah. And then he leaves and they bring in this preachy. He's married. He's always conflicted whether to hang out with the nurses or because he's married and he's loyal to. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. this isn't as good as it was.
Yeah. Plus, Alan Alda was really, he was turning on the male feminism in the late 70s, and he brought it into the show.
He was the face of the sensitive male.
Yeah.
Like when MASH was on, and he had made a few of those movies with like Carol Burnett or something. Alan Alda made a few movies that were just these horrible rom-com things almost, but it was rom-com without even the com.
Yeah.
They were just rom.
Yeah.
and they weren't very good, but they were women watched these things and loved his sensitivity, his feminine side. And then I remember when Reagan got into office, and a lot of that went out the window, and Rambo was in the theaters, and Chuck Norris was doing movies, and everyone just said, who wants to be like this? And they used certain slurs, which I will not use on your show. And it just became more of this macho thing that with the 80s and the Reagan administration and America would have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I asked you that because I can't watch American TV anymore. I watch British stuff, and it's not, that's very politically correct too, but somehow it's I watch these British mysteries, Shetland and Vera, but that's the only thing I can stomach. I can't even watch. There's almost nothing American I'm not going to watch, like Abbott Elementary or something.
I don't even know. I'm at that point, and I don't know if it's. Look, I'm sure my parents and their parents. Well, they probably didn't have TV. My parents' parents. That's how. Well, let me tell you, Sonny. But my parents, watched shows that we watched. Maybe they didn't like them as much as they did their programs, as they called them back in the day. But I remember them watching new shows. They loved them. Like my mom, we'd sit and watch, in the 70s, watch Cannon and Mannix. I got their pictures right up here behind me. I love a good episode of Cannon and Mannix.
Yeah. What about Banachek? Check on the rowboat at the beginning of the show.
Dude, the cop shows back in the 70s were fantastic. So unrealistic, the detectives, but there's just something about them. And they had like 10 guest stars that just did all the shows. So you'd see someone get waxed on Barnaby Jones, and then he's on Mannix the next night. And it was all one big happy family. It doesn't seem like they ever had hair and makeup people either. These people just came off the parking lot. They looked like garbage. They didn't look like actors. They looked like a guy you see, putting air in his tire at a gas station. Yeah. So I'm in love with that whole period of television during the 70s, that Universal Studios produced Columbo kind of stuff.
You know what's funny too is they have, because I'll watch. I love Columbo. Of course, I've watched the whole Columbo, every single one, and my kids love Columbo. But I'll watch. McLeod and McMillan and Wife, those shows, but they were like this. They were 2 hours long, those episodes.
Yes.
McLeod, right. And the funniest thing is you're watching it, and the time wasting, like with the establishment shots, it'll be like, oh, let me go ask that guy, I gotta question this guy on the golf course. And then it shows, and they come back from a commercial. It shows McLeod like driving over the horizon in the golf cart. And then he walks out to the, it's like 45 seconds to get to the guy. And you're like,
right.
All the time in the world.
Yeah. They'd start like zoomed in focus on a girl and a guy at a tiki bar, and they're drinking and talking. And then the camera would pull out and go. And now they're into your main character who's just happens to be there. We don't need to know their story. Yeah. You're right. They had to fill 2 hours. I love those though. Yeah, they're and occasionally you'll see one of those pop up, like Columbo has an episode directed by Spielberg when he was very new at Universal. And you could see it too. Like you watch and go, oh, that looks like a Spielberg shot. And I think it was what was his name? Columbo.
It was Jack Cassidy. Oh no, it was Peter Falk.
Peter Falk. Yeah, that was the Jack Cassidy episode. One of them. He's in a few, and they're all gold. Yeah. But he goes, this guy is too good to direct this show. Like he knew he was destined to do movies and not try to figure out how to muscle in a 20-minute establishing shot of the Capitol Records building.
Exactly. It's in everything. So I watched the free Cumia today on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great because how often do you do that? You kind of pop it up there for everybody.
Yeah, I've been doing a half hour of the show, which has turned into an hour now, of the show for YouTube. And then everything else on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I do an hour and a half show every day. And that's only available to subscribers on compoundmedia.com. And I have to do this. I have to do it that way because, look, a lot of the stuff I talk about and the way I talk about it, I like shooting from the hip. I like discussing uncomfortable things that people find offensive. So to do an hour on YouTube is bad enough for me. I'm chomping. I need to
let you on there. That's what I was going to ask. It's like, so I'm watching on YouTube and I'm thinking, like, YouTube basically at this point, it banned. Who's that kid from Growing Pains? Like, he gets banned from YouTube.
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron is banned from YouTube. How do you get on there? Is it just you have to totally keep it clean for the half hour?
Yeah, I think what helps me out is that I did spend so much time on traditional FM radio doing the Opie and Anthony show. And the material we were doing, I mean, we were, shock jocks back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
And having to do that and circumnavigate the FCC and sponsors and everything else, you had to get your point across, but you couldn't blatantly say some stuff. You could insinuate, you could use double entendre, plenty of ways to get your point across so that your audience knows exactly what you're saying and you're not held liable for saying it in the FCC's eyes. So I think that helped a lot. And then just also circumnavigating, I had been banned from Twitter for 7 years. And then when Elon Musk bought Twitter, I had alt accounts that sometimes would be canceled and sometimes not. But I learned through all those how to kind of keep it between the lines and, again, get my point out there without having being shut down by saying things that are considered hateful or violent or whatever. Yeah. So when Elon got Twitter, X, and gave me my original account back, that's my full name, Anthony Cumia, I kind of wanted that. I had already figured out, knock wood, how to keep it between their lines, but still put it out there in a way that I want to be read or heard or seen or listened to.
Yeah. Do you know that guy, Steve Inman? Steve Inman is on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So funny. I mean, this guy is like, I did a whole podcast with him, and now I see his videos all the time because I watch them, and now I'm stuck in his algorithm, But,
the old algorithm will get you. Yeah.
But even just interviewing him got my video banned from YouTube. He's so poisoned to YouTube because his video, he doesn't even swear. Like, I mean, maybe a little bit, but basically he's banned because it shows actual videos from people doing violent things.
Right.
In cities, which you do as well. So I would think like the videos of you, like, look at this criminal doing this, like that would get banned from YouTube, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. I haven't pulled that trigger yet.
Yeah.
What I do know is it's easier to, if you're just posting the videos on your account, it's one thing. If you retweet something and comment on it, it's sort of 1 degree of separation. You're not as responsible as if you took the video yourself. Now, also, you're not getting as many views when you're retweeting someone else. So you got to risk it. Do I cut the video, place it on my own account and get the hits for it? Or do you want to take door number 2 where you copy it, you repost someone else's? So it's a balancing act of monetization and survival on social media.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Steve re-edits them and then puts his own voiceover on it.
Yes,
and then he puts,
yes, and they're hilarious.
Sound effects, and I mean, it's so funny.
Yeah. Oh no, look at what he did! This idiot. It's so funny because he calls it like a fight or like some kind of an action sporting event. Yeah, hilarious.
So you said shock jock. Okay, that jumped out at me because I'm watching the YouTube show today, and it was most of it was about Stern, and you played the clips of that unbelievably obsequious interview with Stern and the president.
Yeah,
and it's like, what is? I mean, do you have a theory? Because you didn't really. You seem to be asking the question, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, like, what is it? Is it just like you said, he's loaded. He's got all the money in the world.
Yep.
Is it acceptance? Like, does he want the New York Times to write a nice obituary for him or something? What is it?
That is the big question. That's why I was wondering if he had always been this guy and somehow covered it up with this irreverent, dirty shock jock character, or was he that guy and finally just is almost covering it up now by being this socially accepted, hey, you did America's Got Talent, invited into America's homes every night when it was on. Right. Which one is or was the real Howard? He made his bones off of being the shock jock. I mean, that was what brought him the fame and initially the fortune that he wound up with, and that popularity. I think the lack of acceptance for everything he achieved, King of All Media, the book, the movie, the most successful radio show, I think for all he achieved, not getting accepted from anyone but these Long Island guys that are drinking beer and hanging out with their buddies. Where are the Hollywood A-list celebrities, the politicians, the mass media guys? Where are they to say, wow, this guy's awesome? He's good. He's a good broadcaster, an interviewer. I think that bothered him so much that he just threw away his past and pursued this whole new character that still has to have that brand that is known for shock jock and being irreverent and dirty and offensive. And I'll just bring it over here, and maybe no one will remember that part.
Yeah, you know what you mentioned? I had forgotten America's Got Talent, but that might be the key to the whole deal because, like you said, he was everywhere because he was on commercial radio, and so everyone came in. All the if you had a movie out, I mean, every director, every star, Paul McCartney, it was like there was nobody too famous for Howard Stern. But then when he went on to Sirius, people didn't need to go there because the audience wasn't as big, right?
Right.
And then no one was talking about Howard Stern when he went over to Sirius, but he, but they knew he had, a lot of money, and you're like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But then, so he's almost faded away. And, I remember seeing him at the Billy Joel 10 years ago, when he first started doing those MSG things.
Yep.
We did with Jimmy Fallon. We went down and sang Barbershop on the Billy Joel show.
Right.
We sang Happy Birthday. So I was like there at the Billy Joel concert on stage, and Stern was down in the front row with a couple of other celebrities. And I remember thinking like, oh, Howard Stern is like, there. But like he goes to these things and he sees like Billy Joel, like everyone and his brother shows up. When I just went to see him recently, Seinfeld showed up to pay tribute. Sting came and was like, singing with him. But then there's Howard, like, oh, yeah. And when he did America's Got Talent, he was back in America's living room, right?
Yep.
And he
Prime time network. Yeah.
And so that's the only thing he has going is like, if he stays acceptable and, attacks Trump and like goes with the Democrats, like he'll still stay in with that, with the as they call them, the elites, right?
Yes, the elites. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. It really, I was thinking almost like I really was thinking of the obituary, because when you get old, you start thinking like, oh, who's going to pay tribute to me?
Yeah. What's my legacy kind of a thing. But The other thing with him is you could listen to early episodes, and even it culminated kind of in his movie, The Misfit, The Outcast. That's why his fans loved him so much as that person, because that's who I am. I'm not accepted. I'm the misfit. And he wasn't just kind of playing that character. In order to be that guy, he had to, it's like The Prestige. You have to, he's living his act. You got to live your act. And it's very hard to do that. And he showed his insecurity all the time. He wanted acceptance. That scene in the movie when he's at the MTV Awards and he's backstage and he's got his head down. He's like, hi. And everyone's just calling him an idiot. Yeah. That was him. That was him going, God, I want that acceptance. I want these musicians to come up and go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And not like, who's that idiot back here? Does he even belong here? Check his pass. And I think that got to him so much that audience be damned, past Artie Lang on the show, Gilbert Gottfried, all these amazing shows that had really content that could be argued to be racist or sexist or homophobic, that got buried because now he's doing America's Got Talent, and all it would take is someone to dig that up and send it to the boss and look at him. He's in blackface, or he's talking about this, or, I think he saw that as a problem and just erased it from any archive of Howard Stern.
Yeah. And it's like, well, as long as it's almost like all you have to do is go Democrat politics. I mean, Harvey Weinstein tried it. You remember when he was like, he's arrested for like 87 counts of rape, and he's like, I'm donating $10,000 to the Democrats. And they were like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, you're a little over the line on that one. The last begging, like, please let me keep everything and not say, no, sorry, can't do it. Like in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Where he's like, could you get me off the hook for old time's sake? Sorry, can't do it. Remember, you were at my parties. We have pictures together, and you were up on a stage saying how much you loved and respected me. It's like, yeah, that's the business, jerk. That's the business, you dummy.
Oh, that's another good one. Barney Miller. That holds up the whole run.
Yes, that was really good.
Yeah. That
was good the whole run. Yeah.
Remember that they would arrest people for being gay on that show? And that was like, it was
some
like a
of
couple
the
of gay guys.
Yeah. Yeah. The crimes were like this fantasy world. Oh, he was a flasher. Yeah. Like imagine the cops wouldn't even slow down. It's just like, yeah, whatever. What is he doing? I don't care. Amazing.
I mean, it's like, you talk about American TV is kind of unwatchable now, but Barney Miller, such a quality show, but obviously would never be done, not just for the politically correct stuff. It's like, how many? It was like 8 white guys, like 8 kind of, I call them middle-aged. At this point, they were kind of young guys, but I remember I thought I was watching old men, right? Remember Fish? He was probably like younger than me when he did that show.
I think so. Like people point that out all the time. He's the guy to bring up and go, do you know you're older than? And now it got to Fish. It used to be like, you're older than this, whatever, a younger celebrity of the time when you're in your 20s. It's like, do you know you're older than Michael J. Fox or something? Like, oh, okay. And then it's like, Fish? Really? You got to bring that up, dude?
You're older than a sight gag old man.
Yeah, he's known as being the old guy. Every roast, that was the old guy. And now you're telling me I'm older than him. Awesome.
So what's I'm sure everybody who watches Compound knows about your whole health story, but before I let you go, I want you to give me your story. Like, what is it? Heart attacks? I mean, you had open heart surgery. What happened?
It wasn't a heart attack, thank God. Yeah. But I was having this arrhythmia. All of a sudden, I just started getting this accelerated heart rate. And I knew it wasn't right. Something didn't feel right. So right away, 911. A lot of people, and doctors tell me this all the time, a lot of people make a mistake and just decide they're going to lay down or go to sleep or something. and they wind up dying right there. It's like, so I'm just like,
oh, my heart is like fluttering. I better take a nap. And then it's
I better take a nap or something. Yeah. It's you don't do that. I just went blind in one eye and I had blood coming out of my ear. I better take a little snooze. No. So I just felt that. And I had just felt beat up for months beforehand. I was constantly like sweating and tired. All the symptoms you pawn off to something else in order to just rationalize why it's like that. I've been working hard. I've been drinking a lot. I've been whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I go there and they go, well, we're going to take you in for an angiogram and take a look at your coronary arteries and veins and whatnot. And it was pretty amazing, the whole thing, because I hadn't been in an operating room, and I've seen the amazing technology that's come out in the past couple of decades, the autonomy, everything from drones to cars being completely autonomous. And being rolled into that operating room and looking around, it didn't resemble a TV show operating room anymore. And I think TV shows, when they put operating rooms up, they put old ones up so people go, where are they? Yeah. Like you wouldn't even know. You'd think you were at NASA. Why are they wheeling in this guy into a NASA control room for knee surgery?
Yeah.
So they put the old lights it's not like that anymore. It looked like something out of NASA. Giant screen TVs everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So they put me under, and again, there will never be better drugs than the ones you legally get at a hospital to knock you out.
Oh yeah.
Because that moment where they give you the ones to calm you down a little, take the edge off before they put you to sleep totally.
Yeah.
And when you get those and you're just like, I gotta say, it's pretty good.
Isn't it fentanyl? Isn't it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was fentanyl.
Yeah.
And when given to you by a doctor the proper way, well, you could see the allure.
Yeah.
Something to that. And then they snake some stuff up your wrist and look around with a camera into your arteries. So I wake up. I'm still there. There's a big screen right next to me. I turn my head and I want to know, what gives. Whether I'm going to need some of those little stents to open up the arteries or what have you. And he goes, yeah, these are all no good. He goes, the 4 major ones are not open. They're just, you're not getting the blood flow that you need.
Arteries?
I'm like, oh, right.
Arteries or veins? They're arteries, right?
Arteries. Yeah, the arteries. And I go,
here?
Yeah, they were just, what's that?
Are they the neck ones or they're the ones right out of the heart?
Well, the ones on your heart, the ones that like give your heart the blood.
Yeah.
Your heart needs blood too because it's a muscle. So it pumps through these coronary arteries that kind of surround the heart and feed those muscles. If those get clogged and your heart doesn't get blood, the muscle starts dying, and that's called a heart attack.
Yep.
So these were plugged up. So I thought they would just go, well, we'll have to put 4 stents in it. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. They go, no, you need bypass surgery. You need quadruple bypass surgery. So I'm like, what? Really? And there's no like, can I get a second opinion? I'm at the best cardiac hospital in New York City, Langone, NYU, down in Manhattan. You don't get better. Like if you're having heart problems anywhere on earth, that's where you go. So I wasn't going to go, let me talk to a guy down in South Carolina. So they took about a week to get my body in shape for the surgery, get all the chemical levels and blood levels where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then I went in, they took that saw to my breastbone and opened me up and took veins out of my arm and leg and used those to bypass the clogged arteries around my heart.
Bypass. And, was it like so they took that part I didn't know. They take another vein, right? And
yeah.
It's like a highway. They go around the traffic jam and they build another road. And then what do they do with the road that's clogged?
They just leave the block there. It's because it's clogged.
Yeah.
And then they bypass it like 2 ways. Like it's a detour.
It's like one of those roads that's got like just weeds all over it.
Yeah,
right?
the weeds and the rocks and maybe a burnt out Chevy. That's pretty much what it was.
Holy
then I was in recovery for a couple of days. They get you up and walking like right away. That's a big thing in the hospital. You got to get up and walking. It's like, please, I don't want to do that. So it was definitely real surgery. This was the big, I used to think about stuff like that. You would think about them opening you up and working on you and think like I'd freak out. I couldn't do that. When you're put in situations, humans, I think, are a lot more resilient, especially mentally, than they think they are. Because when you're in those situations, you somehow get through it. And I kind of liken it to when you get on that roller coaster, there's going to be some twists and turns. It's going to be scary. And you just want to make it to that, part where you get back in and you get off and everything's done. But when you're on that thing, you have no say, man. You are strapped in and you're along for the ride, and you have to have trust in everyone that's running the machine that they know what they're doing. And I did. They were very good with articulating everything that was going to be done and what I needed to do and what the nurses and surgeons were doing. You kind of give yourself up to that and hope you pop out the other end the same person.
So let me ask, did it all happen at once? Did they do that test where what do they call the thing where they put the camera in the vein?
Angiogram.
Did they do the angiogram and then say, we're doing it now? Or did they say, come back in 2 weeks?
No, that was just it. I didn't come back. I was in the hospital from the time they did that for a full week or so as they brought all my levels, because my circulation was so bad. All of my potassium and sodium and sugar levels and everything that's your blood is supposed to carry to your body were all over the place. So they had to get those straightened out before they could do the surgery. So I was in there a few days. It wasn't quite a week while they did that work. And the surgery was scheduled for almost 5 days later, I guess. And that's when they wheel you in. And you just look around like some things are like movies and TV shows. Like you'll always be on your back, on the gurney, watching the lights go past through the hallway as they bounce into the door a little and the door opens. It's like, this is so cliche hospital,
Yeah, you're watching
like I said, then you get
by, right? Yeah,
the lights go by, but as once you get into that operating room and you look around at the insane amount of technology and how everyone in there has a thing to do and they are doing it. There's no one just lollygagging around, smoking a butt, chewing some gum in the corner. Everyone knows what they're doing, and that's what they're doing. And it gives you a great feeling of confidence. And then, the anesthesiologist comes over and goes, okay, we're going to put you out. And you make that deal. You make that get me out of this one deal with the big guy. And, it's.
Do they put the mask over your face? You always think of anesthesia that way, but when I got my
they
colonoscopy,
first put the mask with just oxygen and then gave me an injection of propofol, I think it was. And I was like, I didn't give it. At that point, you don't care what they do. They figured out drugs to give you where you don't even think about what's going to happen. Yeah, fine. Cut off a foot if you have to, whatever you want to do. I don't even care. So mentally, those drugs do wonders. And then, they put on the and you don't remember anything. I swear to you, it was like time travel. It was like the second I shut my eyes and don't remember any pre-op stuff, I was opening my eyes in recovery with my brother and girlfriend and stuff. And I went I think the first thing I said was like, holy moly, that was insane. But it was that You don't even go through it. You're there before it and there after it, whatever happened in between. And I hear it was 8 hours. It was an 8-hour surgery. And I time traveled.
And do they pull the ribs apart?
Yeah. They take a chest spreader. They cut the breastbone and they spread it out so they could get in there and work. And then they put it together and they put some very thin, like hair, like thin titanium wire to hold your breastbone together. And then they stitch you up. But for a couple of days when I moved around, I felt like the rubbing, grinding, like a gritty feeling in my breastbone. That freaked me out a little bit.
But they don't take it out. They leave it there.
They leave it there. Yeah, it's just titanium, like hair, thin as a hair thread that they use. And then they put me on Dilaudid, which I had in the little thing that you give yourself. So if you're feeling any pain, which by the way is anything, I would just hit that. And then I was hitting it, and one of the nurses goes, that'll only dispense after 8 minutes. Like you could give it to you. You could hit it a dozen times. It's only going to do it once. You got to wait 8 minutes for the next one. I became the premier clock watcher in the place. I'm like counting down an Apollo launch. I was just waiting for 8 minutes to hit that thing again because it was awesome. Again, it was just druggy and kind of fun and legal and medically supervised. So that was kind of cool. Sneezing was a thing I did not do for 2 weeks. If I felt a sneeze coming on, I had to pinch my nose and hold my breath. So no like air would brush by something that made me want to sneeze. The thought of that, thank God I didn't sneeze for 2 weeks. And the first one I did was like I got shot in the chest. That's how it felt.
And did they tell you? I mean, you didn't want to sneeze because you would have been in pain, but did the doctor say, hey, by the way, don't sneeze? It could like... Really...
Yeah, they go, if you can, don't sneeze. If you have to, they give you like a heart-shaped pillow. It's very adorable with, the hospital name on it. Yeah. And if you have to cough or sneeze, they want you to grab it and hold it against your chest real tight. So nothing moves around while you're sneezing or coughing.
Wow. So the titanium stayed in. So why don't you feel that grinding that you felt? Why don't you still feel
that was the bone healing. It hadn't healed together yet. So the actual bone had to heal together. It was the bone rubbing against the other side before it stitched itself together. I know. Once I got out of there and everything was okay, it took about 3 months before I could really do anything without getting winded. And now it's been 6 months and I just feel like better than I ever have. I could do anything, walk around, bike, I run, all the stuff that I was just kind of blowing off to. Well, you're old. I guess that's it. Or you went out with Gino and drank a lot last night, or whatever, instead of, your arteries are all clogged up, dummy.
Well, back when you were doing Red Eye, I remember you used to tell me stories of the, you had that trainer come and wake you up and you would. Oh,
yeah.
Pretty heavily, right? And
I was working out back then, that was, that helped. But, there's also genetics involved. My dad and his whole side of the family just had horrible, what did they call it back then? Hardening of the arteries. Yeah. I think he got hardening of the arteries. I don't remember having an uncle over 58 years old. Like all of them were meeting their demise because of coronary heart issues. But again, they didn't do anything. They were the kind of guys that would just go to sleep because there was nothing they could do, especially back then. I mean, the medical technology wasn't as good. And just the lifestyle. I mean, look at people. We talk about this shows from the 70s and whatnot. Look at the people that are supposed to be in their 20s and 30s. They look 50, 60 years old. So the lifestyle back then was torturous on the body. The drinking and smoking and just the aggravation, the pollution. I don't know. It just seemed like people back then were living a much harder more physically taxing life than we do now, without the benefit of having some amazing medicine out there.
Absolutely. And they had they would work blue collar jobs, pounding their legs.
Oh
and then they'd go
God,
home
yes.
and eat, just steak and smoke and drink. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, think about the ads you see for things like mesothelioma, and they would just go, yeah, hey, Bob, you got to rip that asbestos out. Okay. And he's just covered in what is literally poison.
Yeah.
And, that was just, they didn't know. A lot of jobs were like that. They wound up years later giving people horrible heart and lung diseases and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I keep tabs on it, and look at what happens. Even, I did take a little bit of a stretch of not really keeping tabs on it. I was starting to do TRT therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, with injections. And I don't know, I haven't spoken to anyone about the direct correlation there, but I've heard that there are side effects that could cause some problems like that when you're taking that. So I was kind of neglecting the history of my family and what I should have been doing. So it happens, I'm back now going, all right. So, during the shows, I drink water during the week and everything. And then on the weekends, I could have some wine, things like that. But
okay, so that's it. That's your routine. So you still drink a little bit, but you're more moderate. That's the
yeah. I'm not, there was beer in the house all the time. And when I came home from doing the show in the city, from drinking beer and doing shots, I would come home, sit and play some video games, doing nothing but constantly drinking a can of beer. It just, became a thing. And that stopped. That had to stop. So, you do a little alteration of your lifestyle and hopefully stick around a few more.
Yeah. And then they have some other routine or like some medications. What are like the statins or something like that? Do you have to?
Yeah, they put me on a statin for cholesterol. That's about it though. My blood pressure is good. Exercise. I make sure I at least move around, and get some exercise on a daily basis. Other than that, you don't have to get the prime rib every time you go out to dinner. Maybe some chicken might be good this time. It's just little lifestyle changes. That dessert, oh boy, do I love a good apple cinnamon friggin' goopy dessert thing. Hey, maybe you don't have that. Maybe you go for a little slice of key lime pie or some fruit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody I know is drinking anymore. I know,
quitters.
Yeah. Gutfeld stopped drinking. I did.
And that amazes me even more than me.
Right. Because he used to love wine. We'd go out, we'd do the shows, and he always had bottles of wine back. So he's done, and he's so healthy. He does he gets up, does the Peloton, stop drinking. The guys in my quartet, we used to get together and, of course, sing barbershop. We weren't we weren't exactly the wild bunch. We were a barbershop quartet, but we would get together and drink. And now none of the guys drink. We get together and have non-alcoholic beer. It's unbelievable. That
was one of my favorite parts of doing Red Eye, was the after drinking at the bar. We'd go to the bar, a couple of bars, and have some drinks and just laugh our asses off. And, good times.
Yeah. I know. Those were great. And it really was my lifestyle at the time.
Yeah.
I'm in bed at 9:45 now.
Oh, my God. I am too. AM. I'm up all night. I used to be. I've kind of reined it in. You know what I mean? I'm doing the show now an hour and a half instead of 2 hours for no real reason, but I can and use that as an excuse. Hey, Johnny Carson went from an hour and a half to an hour. Yeah. So I'm like, I can do from 2 hours to an hour and a half. And they gave me some bitching and moaning, but an hour and a half of me is certainly better than no me.
Yeah. But you're still up late and you sleep late. Is that right?
Yeah. I like sleeping late. My show is until 4:30 PM. So I don't have to get up early. I get up earlier than I used to, and it's nice to get up not hungover. I think the period of time I used to spend in bed was kind of trying to get over that hangover, and then wake up at 2-3 p.m. And stay up until 3. And again, just drinking down beers, not even feeling a buzz. It just, you felt compelled that one's empty. Let me just grab another one, because that's what you do. So, that was a little, I don't know. It was getting quite routine. So it's kind of nice now.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this. You probably, I mean, I don't want to do anything anymore. And so I imagine you finished your show and you're like, I'm sure when Andrea asked you, you were like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like a half hour before, you're like, what the hell am I doing this for? But
no, you know what? There are some times I do that. Yeah. And there are some people I would kind of go like, I don't know, it doesn't sound fun or anything. Yeah. You, of course, anytime you want me to do your show, I will do your show. And it's not just that I feel this commitment. I love doing your show. I love talking with you. It's always been a great time, whether it was professionally on Red Eye or extracurricularly out at a bar, obviously. But I had done at 11. I was up at 10:30 today because I had an 11 o'clock spot on Stu Peters' show. So I do various shows during the day. It's a lot easier now that I have this right here in my house. So it's not like I got to hop in the car and run out. So I do shows, just, I'm a little more selecting in who I do.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even need to do this. I'm on Fox News. That's my job.
Yeah.
I like to do it. And so having that weekly thing, and so that's why I got together with Andrea, and I said, Andrea, let's do this show. So she books it for me, and we keep on a good schedule. And so I've kept up since last fall. I do one a week, and we have a good time, and I do love it. I love having a chat, and so it's great. So thank you for your time.
That's great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good hearing from you.
You too. And I would love to visit. I mean, I would love to get down there to
absolutely. If you are ever coming down near this area, please, you are more than welcome.
Shooting guns like Barney Fife.
Oh yeah, shooting guns. I love it.
All right. Thanks, Anthony.